Greetings from Atolia, I'm Lord Bones, IMO, level 22. Level 22 is a stealth puzzle game. It was released on the 2nd of May on Steam and is by a studio called Noego. So firstly, let's look at this game as a PC application. Let's hop into the options menu. So you've got music and sound effects on and off and a volume slider, along with some rewindable controls other than moving and stopping, which generally is controlled with the mouse. You spend a lot of time using the mouse more than anything else. Now, to be honest with you, I would prefer resolution options and to be able to maybe not have to use a mouse, because some of the time it gets a little bit fiddly walking around walls. It seems to run in 920 by 1080, being upscaled probably with using the pixel method, just so you can't actually tell it's been upscaled, but who knows at this point. Still would have been nice to see that. So this is the actual game here. So in the beginning, generally what you do is you look around the level, and your goal is to get this guy, called Gary, all the way into this room over here, to go basically back up to his office desk. That's where you are. You're somewhere, I think we're somewhere near the 20th level at this stage. So what you need to do first is to figure out where the items are. So I know there's a box down here, and this guy looks down for this box. I know there's a lightsaber thing there, and a coffee machine down here. So with that in mind, I already know the tactic I'm going to choose. I'm going to go up here and grab an item. This item over here will help me to perform a stealth move, if I can actually get where the item is. There we go. Laxative. So I finished this level because this level basically really, although it's stealth, I would say it's way more puzzle, because here and now I know exactly what I'm doing and exactly where this guy is going to go in about 2 seconds. And so it's far more a puzzle game than it is actually a stealth game. That, and also the fact that you sort of don't need to worry too much about the stealth as much as the method that you're using to get across to another part of the map. Now, this game definitely rings quite true to home vis-a-vis an office sort of simulator type thing. And I do actually like the art style. People generally don't like an 8-bit sort of art style, but this here I think is way more sort of 16-bit SNES style than sort of NES 8-bit sort of style. So I do actually quite like the actual art style of the game. And the jokes inside the actual game as well are the fourth wall breaking, but I quite like fourth wall breaking stuff, especially with the jokes in this game. So to be perfectly honest with you, I think this game is pretty much a win on sort of the jokes standpoint and the art style in general. Now, I would say there are a few issues I have with this game so far, which are really the fact that the pathfinding is quite annoying, in that sometimes you end up walking and it walks through a different location, which wasn't exactly what you wanted to do. That gets very, very annoying. And also, occasionally, you sort of get situations where the person that spots you is in the black, so you didn't even know that they were there. It's like, okay, well, I could not have known you were there. How on earth, you know, it's not good that you can't see somebody literally on the screen. It's not a case of me not being observant, literally black was on the screen at that point. And there's a few times not there, is that, well, bug it. I shouldn't have gone then, I realise now. Let's do this again, shall we? By the way, that there just actually demonstrate that the checkpoints are actually fairly generous, which sort of further seals this idea that it's a puzzle game more than a stealth game, to be honest with you, because the checkpoints are really generous. I definitely appreciate that they're generous though, because occasionally the game itself will be wrong or do something wrong and not me. And so I do like the fact that it just takes you straight back and gets straight back to the next bit of the puzzle, which really makes you think about what exactly... Am I actually... Yes, I'm a person now. Okay. It actually make you think really about the genre of this game. Like, the difference between stealth and puzzle is dramatically sort of swayed back and forth. Now, I would say as well that mechanics do trump story in this quite a bit, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, people will just walk around and stare and do things that wouldn't necessarily be normal. And, for example, the fact that a staircase only goes down where you come up from, and a staircase only goes up from where you are. I think health and safety would have a flipping field day if that was actually the case in this office building. Because let's say there's a fire, you have to keep going through the floor in order to get out. Not exactly the best thing in the world. In fact, although I would say it's perfectly okay because it's not exactly meant to be a story-oriented game, I would say I would prefer, really, that it would address these issues. Now, there are a few more other things as well, like bosses, which generally end up being trial and error for the first 2 minutes, which isn't exactly the best thing in the world. Oh, I did that bit wrong. I shouldn't have done that. I remember now. Which generally are trial and error for the first little bit, which, again, isn't exactly the best thing in the world with your game for it to be trial and error. It doesn't give you enough information in order for you to proceed. I guess in a puzzle game, that's sort of what you want, but I think it's taken sort of the extreme of just trying to do random things inside the level. Also, a further thing to be sort of considered in that realm is that the game itself doesn't really explain when you should or should not be able to get past somewhere, and sometimes the timings between people turning around is very, very tight, and sometimes you're meant to get past them, and sometimes you're not. And this here is a bit of the comedy here. So he's just found his lightsaber, and obviously I'll let you read this in your spare time, I suppose, but to be perfectly honest with you, I find the jokes, they're well delivered, I would say, to be honest with you, and fairly well presented with inside the actual game. This, along with just the sheer mechanics of when you end up you have a book at one point and you have to twat people around the back with it, and I find that the sound design and the overall feel of that is just amazingly tactile, I would say. That's definitely the word I would use in this situation. So, although I am sort of saying it's not exactly the best game in the world for sort of story ties and general mechanics, it's definitely alright in that sort of, you feel like you're actually there and you're actually hitting somebody with the book in that case. I don't think there's that much more, really. I would say maybe talk about the items in a moment, which is sort of, you do get several items throughout your entire course of the game. I've got this box at the moment and this lightsaber and the laxative over here. We do actually get donuts in order to be able to take away the security guards, which undergo different rules. I'll maybe concentrate here to get this guy out. Let me have a think. Now. See, and even that there, very, very nice. And very nice, although it's 8-bit, I do find that the animation is always very, very well put together, let's say. I definitely would agree with that. So I've actually finished this level now, and now I think this is enough now. I think we'll round it up, and I'll give you my synopsis on this game. As a puzzle game, Level 22 offers an enjoyable and fun game with nicely delivered jokes. Level 22 is on Steam for $5.99, £4.79 or €5.99. See you in the next one. Goodbye.